Today we are going to explain the concept of money creation by the banking system in Canada. First, we will use this simplified model of a balance sheet to show how the banking system works. On the right side, liabilities are shown in the form of deposits and owner's capital. The left side shows reserves and loans creating the assets of the bank. So what are reserves? Well, banks can't afford to hold all of the cash that gets deposited. This is because depositors expect to receive interest on their deposits. So what can the banks do with the money they can't afford to keep? They invest it. The money kept from each deposit is held by the bank as cash on reserve. This cash is available to be withdrawn by depositors at any time. The remaining money from deposits is loaned out through investments. How does the bank know how much money to hold in reserves? By trying to maintain a reserve ratio, which is the amount of money from a deposit that the bank holds in relation to the amount from the deposit that it loans out. The bank set a target for this ratio. This means that after every deposit that is made, the cash held in reserves is adjusted to satisfy the target ratio. In order to explain the process of money creation, we will first need to outline the four simplifying assumptions that make the process easy to understand. Banks invest only in loans. There are only demand deposits. There is a fixed target reserve ratio, and there is no cash drain. What is cash drain? Cash drain is the amount of money that people hold in cash rather than depositing into the bank. We will assume for now that cash drain does not affect the money creation process. When a customer makes a deposit, it shows up on the right side of the balance sheet as a liability that the bank will eventually need to return to that customer. Simultaneously, the deposit shows up on the left side as an asset under reserves, balancing the balance sheet. The new deposit makes the reserve ratio higher than target, meaning the bank can now loan out the excess reserves as investments. Now that we understand what happens when a deposit is made, we can look at how the newly deposited money expands once it has entered the system. Of any amount deposited at any time during the expansion process, a portion will be held in reserves and the remainder will be loaned out into the system. New deposits resulting from the money loaned out by the initial first-round bank are made at second-round banks, then third-round banks, and so on in sequence. Each bank takes a portion of the deposit and continues the loaning process. Though we made the simplifying assumptions that banks strictly adhere to a fixed target reserve ratio, ultimately the decision to loan out or hold money in reserves is made at the discretion of the bank. By relaxing this assumption, we see that it is during the expansion process that the concept of excess reserves plays a key role. We can also relax the assumption that there is no cash drain affecting the money expansion process. We can now assume that, rather than holding a fixed dollar amount of cash, people will hold a fraction of their bank deposits, draining this cash from the system. This alters the multiplying effect of the expansion process, since money entering the system can either be reserves or cash held by the public.